So my goal with this video is to have you both understand the initial context and the ongoing metaphor behind this clip.
I left that yogurt store and didn't get the yogurt that I wanted.
So for years now, people have been begging me to attempt an inverse of my popular series, How the Internet Fell Out of Love. And I think that's just because they like to hear me explain the lore about celebrities and their various online shenanigans, and due to recent and past events, I think Demi Lovato actually fits that bill quite well. So here's how this is going to work. We're going to talk about the rise of Demi Lovato, some of her viral online struggles and moments, and how she seemingly has been able to successfully rebrand herself ahead of her album release this fall. Sound good? Okay, good. I hope for your sake this is screen time well spent. My weekly screen time report is embarrassingly high, and I don't like to talk about it. But you know what I do like to talk about? How to get the most out of your internet surfing experience. It's all about comfort and convenience, which is why I'm thrilled to talk to you about today's sponsor, Opera. Opera is a free browser that comes with a bunch of handy features that can improve all of that time you spend on the internet, whether it's for work or play. With tab traces, Opera helps you stay on track by tracing your browsing path with a subtle underline. The darker the line, the more recently you visited that tab. And with tab islands, you can stay organized by grouping tabs into separate islands. For example, you can keep one island for shopping, one for research, and another for entertainment. No more chaotic tab overload. You can also personalize Opera with themes to make the browser match your style. You can choose from options like Midsummer, Viking, or Aurora. My favorite is Midsummer. It makes the browser feel fresh and bright while I'm online. Opera makes it easy to multitask and stay organized with features like split screen. Just drag a tab down and you've got two windows side by side. Perfect for comparing products or taking notes while doing research, and the ability to pop a video out and watch it while you're doing other things. Efficiency, folks, we love it. I've teamed up with Opera for today's video. Do you want to check it out? Hit the link in the description down below to download Opera for free.
Hey guys, guess what? I am now 16, which is not that different from being 15, but it's cool because yesterday I had the best birthday ever, and now I won't forget that I'm 16.
Demi Lovato got her start in the entertainment industry as a child actor, from Barney and Friends to many of her roles on the Disney Channel, including Mitchie in Camp Rock and Sunny in Sunny with a Chance. I don't think her acting was all that remarkable at any point, but there was no doubt that she could sing. I feel like growing up in the 2010s, she was always on the radio, either with more juvenile pop hits like Really Don't Care or Neon Lights, or some of her big loud bangers like Heart Attack or Cool for the Summer. Demi Lovato made really good pop music and did so pretty consistently from 2012 to 2017. Going through all of her albums for this video, I forgot just how many hits that she had. I actually saw her in concert once when I was in high school, and it was one of the worst shows I had ever been to. Not really because of her, but because of where I saw her. This is a Long Island deep cut, but I saw her in Nassau Coliseum, which used to be a venue that was actually used for things, and now it's not, and for good reason. And the quality of that venue also reflects the quality of the hockey team that used to play there. That was a joke, but I am very sorry to the 4 Islanders fans who are currently catching strays in this YouTube video. Go Rangers, baby, let's go! But behind the scenes, it was clear that Demi struggled with a lot of the same things that other child actors of her era did, and it made sense because when they were growing up, they had to experience so much in silence in order to maintain the highly controlled Disney star image. During her Camp Rock days, Demi struggled with disordered eating, publicly recalling in interviews that she was purging on the set. Additionally, she started experimenting with hard drugs at just 17 years old, starting with cocaine and eventually engaging in heroin use. In 2010, Demi entered a treatment facility for bulimia, self-harm, and abusive substances. After treatment, she took a break from her career to focus on her mental health and recovery. And while she did maintain sobriety for some time after her first stay in rehab, she did relapse again in 2018, causing her to overdose and suffer 3 strokes and a heart attack. This permanently disabled her, and she continues to battle with those health problems to this day.
That overdose caused me, a lot of it actually caused a disability. I have vision impairment and hearing impairment to this day.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because of that one.
Yeah. And so I do, that's the closest thing that I have to a regret, is that because of what it's caused me today. Like, I don't drive because I have blind spots in my vision.
Wow.
Yeah. So it's It's a lot.
Demi has been more open about these issues following her overdose. She has also discussed the potential origin of some of her struggles, like being diagnosed with bipolar disorder and experiencing an assault by a fellow Disney Channel actor early on in her career. And you'd think that someone who expressed their dark struggles so publicly and open and honestly and in this vulnerable way would be afforded some level of grace if they were to publicly go through some kind of identity struggle. But no, Demi Lovato cut their hair and started experimenting with their gender identity, and that gave a free pass to the worst people online to be as rude as possible.
I want to take this moment to share something very personal with you. Over the past year and a half, I've been doing some healing and self-reflective work. And through this work, I've had the revelation that I identify as non-binary.
In 2021, Demi Lovato came out as non-binary. They used they/them pronouns exclusively for a year and then eventually adopted she/her pronouns after that, explaining, quote, "I constantly had to educate people and explain why I identified with those pronouns. It was absolutely exhausting. That is one of the reasons that have led me to also feel comfortable with the feminine pronoun. I just got tired, but for that very reason, I know that it is important to continue spreading the word." Since then, she has still been vocally supportive of the LGBTQ+ community, even posting this message on her Instagram in January of this year following the US presidential election. "If you are trans or non-binary like me, please know that I see you, I feel you, I am with you, you are validated, you are loved, and you are not alone. No one can take away our identities, and no one can tell us who we are or aren't. We will get through this. I love you." Something that frustrates me about this topic in particular is that Demi has always been on the receiving end of the critique that they never do anything original, and they're always copying, the trend, and so they pretended to be non-binary as a trend. But not only has Demi referred to herself very recently as non-binary, she also still has her pronouns in her Instagram bio. She, her, or they, them. She didn't just stop being non-binary because she started using she, her pronouns. So anybody making that critique is just using it as an excuse to be shitty to non-binary people. Anyway, something that's also worth recognizing about this era in Demi's career was that she happened to fall into perpetual memedom for several reasons that were actually unrelated to her sexuality. I mean, Camp Rock was always kind of a meme, but of course we also have to mention Poot Lovato. Poot Lovato is a 10-plus-year-old Tumblr meme stemming from a time a fan took a washed-out photo of Demi and created a fictional backstory about it, claiming that Poot was her long-lost twin sister who had spent her entire life locked away in a basement. Demi was hesitant about the popularity of this meme at first, saying, quote, "When Poot first went viral, that actually sucked because I thought that was a real picture of me. And I was like, oh no, that's a really bad angle. But Poot was photoshopped. Later, I felt better about it because I realized that wasn't my face. But it was definitely weird when it went viral. It's really funny to look back on." But over time, she started to embrace it. She had a Poot Lovato cake for her birthday and eventually started referencing the meme in her own content creation.
Wow. What an offer. Let me sleep on it though.
And of course, that brings us to Yogurtgate.
So by the time I got to the counter, after seeing so much diet stuff and health food stuff, it wasn't clear to me that it was for specific health needs. And so I didn't know that. I just took it as, okay, I'm going into a Froyo shop, I'm seeing sugar-free, I'm seeing this and that. If there was a sign that said celiac, vegan, I would have understood. That would have been clear messaging to me. Because it wasn't clear, I'm definitely jumped to conclusions. I left that yogurt store and didn't get the yogurt that I wanted.
Back in 2021, Demi posted a video speaking out against a small frozen yogurt shop called The Big Chill in Los Angeles, saying that she had an extremely hard time ordering Froyo due to all of the sugar-free and, quote, diet foods that were available in the store. The Big Chill later responded, explaining that some of their items were intended for diabetics, vegans, and people with celiac disease. She then told them to, quote, do better and find a way to provide an inviting environment for all people with different needs, including eating disorders. This, paired with Demi's revelation about their gender identity, caused people to paint her as an out-of-touch Hollywood elite type. You have all of the money and power in the world, and while your heart might be in the right place, you're still just a famous person yelling into the void about a frozen yogurt shop. This became one of those memes that outgrew its audience a bit and became funny and camp just by the sheer absurdity of it all. Yes, Diva, go on and complain about sugar-free frozen yogurt in Los Angeles. That is so slay and not at all annoying of you. Now here's where Demi Lovato was standing at a forked path in which they had to seal their fate. they could either embrace the meme of the persona that they took on for themselves in 2020, or she could double down and take things way more seriously and actually be offended by the memes that people were making of her online. And I think it was a wise choice of her to embrace the meme.
Is it Demi Lovato?
Can't
I can see that.
We're talking about frozen yogurt.
And give you
A princess. Do you ever wish you were not famous and can live an ordinary life? I'll be honest with you, no.
We will be perfect in every aspect of the game. You drop a pass, you run a mile. You miss a blocking assignment, you run a mile. You fumble the football, and I will break my foot off in your John Brown hind parts.
Demi has spent the bulk of the last year or so looking healthy and smiling and being very online. Not only that, but she was poking fun at her many jokes and controversies over the years, and people like that. They like celebrities who can laugh at themselves. And it was just refreshing to see her doing better. I don't know her personally, but she looks happy. She seems to have had a lovely wedding. I do feel a bit conflicted about this though, because I do think that desirability politics plays a bit into the internet's treatment of her, as it does with most celebrities. Like, Demi was receiving more hate online when she was bigger and she had short hair, and that's because we are all shallower creatures than we'd like to admit. Her current aesthetic is very modern and desirable, which unfortunately makes people subconsciously coordinate looks with health. Like, yes, it's great to see her glowing, and yes, slay queen, but let's be honest, would you be saying that if she still had the pixie cut and was wearing like 2019-esque pastels and pink eyeshadow? I don't know. Just something to think about. In a similar way, people always request that I make a video about the redemption of Lindsay Lohan, and I think I've said this in a video before. People only like Lindsay Lohan now because she got a really good facelift and you don't hear her talk anymore. There is nothing that warrants an analysis of Lindsay Lohan's redemption. It's all aesthetics, in the same way that you could argue that Demi Lovato's rebrand is all aesthetics, and anytime a celebrity rebrands in a way that people actually like, it has more to do with aesthetics than the artistic direction that they're actually going in, right? And speaking of rebrands, the last thing I want to talk about here is Demi's new upcoming era, and how when artists get into new eras, they face inevitable comparisons to other artists. This clip of Demi playing her new album, It's Not That Deep, went viral on social media last week because the music and the aesthetic are very reminiscent of one Charli XCX, who sort of pioneered this exact genre of pop music last year with her critically acclaimed album Brat. Now it does sound similar, yes. Does it make sense for Demi to do this pop sound because it's trendy and Demi spent a lot of time as a commercial pop artist? Also yes. But the line of argument in defense of Demi has been a little chronically online, in the sense that I have seen folks arguing that she is allowed to claim this sound for herself because she is the OG user of cocaine, as if prolific drug use is an aesthetic that can or cannot be culturally appropriated. Shut the fuck up. This is a topic for another video, but I think the Brat phenomena has shown us that sometimes in culture, we could take a lot of the wrong lessons from things. But regardless of all of that, I'm excited to hear this album, and so is the rest of the internet, I think. Demi's rise and fall and rise again have all been complicated in their own unique ways. But sometimes if you embrace what made you a cunt in the eyes of the world, you eventually come around to being called cunty in an affectionate way. And I, for one, think that's beautiful. Thanks so much for watching, you guys. Thank you so much to Opera for sponsoring today's video. Take a look at my last couple of videos if you missed them. The algorithm's been a little bit wonky lately, so go watch those. They're pretty good, I think. Let me know what you think about this new-ish content format that I'm trying out, and if you hate it, as always, we will never do it again. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time. Bye.